Hello, my AP Lit friends. We're going to have a lesson here on looking over the Prose Fiction Analysis rubric for AP Lit, and then applying the rubric to two sample student essays from last year. All right, let me go ahead and share the screen. All right, we're looking at the AP English rubric. Let me make this nice and big. Okay, there are three types of essays on the AP Lit exam: the poetry analysis, the prose fiction analysis, which this is our opening unit, and then the literary argument on a complete work. Okay, so let's go to it's the second rubric. So here we go. It's called the prose fiction analysis, and it's three rows of assessment. The first row, row A, is on the thesis statement. The second row, row B, again is on the interaction between commentary and evidence. And the third row, row C, is on the sophistication point. So again, here, there's subtle differences between this and the AP Lang rubric. It responds to a prompt with a thesis that presents a defensible interpretation of the passage. You don't get a point if it's not a defensible thesis. You only restate the prompt. You offer a summary without a thesis or coherent claim. Or there's a thesis that doesn't respond to the prompt. So again, this is a thesis that we can be successful in getting, whether it's an adequate thesis or an excellent thesis. It scores the point. Now we go to row B, which is the evidence in the commentary. And I'll start from 0, which is simply restating the thesis. You know, 0 is going to have like one paragraph in this essay. It offers irrelevant information to the prompt. 1 point provides evidence that is mostly general. That's kind of all summary and not much commentary. And it's rare that I see 1s. 2 is you have some of the evidence relates to the student's to your argument, but no line of reasoning, that's your ideas, are established, or it's faulty, it's incoherent. But there's something there. Now for 3 points, 3 is good. And what you have is you have one section of the essay that has good evidence, reasoning, commentary. It explains a literary element or a technique in the passage that contributes to the meaning. It's okay in the other ones, but definitely in 1, it's solid, and you'll get a 3. 4, it's a consistently good all the way. There's a line of reasoning that follows, it's well developed, and there are multiple elements or techniques in the passage that contribute to the meaning, to the thesis you're trying to prove. That gets a 4. So again, this is very similar to the AP Lang rubric you had last year. Let's talk about sophistication points. There are subtle differences here. One of them is exploring complexities or tension within the passage. You know, there might be a tension between two characters and it's being resolved. It might be a situation where there's a social issue, poverty versus rich, race, gender, and it causes conflict and strife, or it takes reasoning and extra understanding to understand the complexities of it. You explore that in the passage. Another way of doing it is situating it within a broader context. You're reading a story and you're comparing it to something historical or pop culture or biblical, something outside of the interpretation of the passage that puts it in the broader context. And that can be done. Accounting for alternative interpretations of the passage. We'll study things in this class, a different way of looking at things, a feminist viewpoint, a cultural anti-racist way of looking at the passage, an economic or Marxist way of interpreting the passage, or Freudian, the psychological way of looking at the passage. There are certain ways you can interpret the passage in a significant and excellent way. And the fourth one is you're writing in a really good writing style that's vivid and persuasive, that still earns the sophistication point. All right. So what we're going to do now is look at a couple sample essays from last year's students, okay? And I'll start with this student here. And let's look. Actually, I'm going to start with the other essay first. This one. It's not as strong as the second one I'm going to show you. Okay, to begin with, it was a timed write, 564 words in one sitting. Okay, so the writer writes a thesis, and I have it underlined. It was based on reading a passage from Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel, Crime and Punishment. Fyodor Dostoevsky explores the complex interplay between emotions and suspense in Crime and Punishment in order to develop the plot while engaging the readers beyond the lines of the page. He uses this by using detailed imagery, appeal to fear, and lastly, situational irony. So again, what this is doing is the old chicken foot, 3 elements to explore in there, which kind of limits the argument. And the idea isn't very sophisticated. It's to develop the plot while engaging the reader beyond the lines of the page. That's not very deep, but it does get the point for the thesis sentence. Now, at a glance, I have light blue evidence, yellow is commentary, and you see the first paragraph is kind of scattered, that the evidence is in the middle, there's commentary that's very thin in the opening paragraph. Here it's a little bit more evidence with a little bit of commentary. Just like I said in AP Lang when I taught you, is I'd like the commentary to be about 51% of the paragraph or more, and where this is more the other way around. And so what happens is you retell the story instead of analyze. The commentary is very thin. It's better done, and at least it's done once in this essay, in this third body paragraph, where it has some decent enough commentary to back up evidence. That, by definition of the rubric, would carry a 3, okay? And so this says, do I see sophistication anywhere in the essay? I do not, all right? So this is an okay essay, 1, 3, 0, which in your grade book goes in your head, it's a B-. Not bad, but can be improved to be stronger by having a more complex thesis and definitely more commentary and analysis. All right, let's look at another essay. All right. And this essay, let's look at the thesis sentence. Fyodor Dostoevsky explores the complex interplay between emotion, suspense, and crime and punishment in order to convey just how profound the mind can be when challenged with odds unimaginable to one's personal perspective. Dostoevsky demonstrates the psychological factors of a human being that are torturous, overbearing to the point where we succumb to the haunting realities of our action. Definitely not the chicken foot. Definitely concentrates on key themes and ideas. And it's a much better thesis. It's much more complex. It flows better. And as you can see, evidence, significant amount of commentary, good evidence, significant amount of commentary, okay? And more specifically, in this section here, which I put in a fuchsia color, the student writer writes about the tension that is found in a passage. To create a feeling of suspense, the author paces each scene according to the action being done. And so there's the tension that happens before a murder is committed. And it's done in a significant way. So this writer earns the sophistication point for analyzing the tension in a passage. Does it fairly well. This time Wright clocked in at nearly 800 words. It's a good one. And this one, I scored it a 1, 4 for the middle column, 1. All right. So let me stop the share here. And so what I'll do here is stop the lesson. This is explaining the rubric for the prose fiction analysis and applying it to a couple sample essays. Thank you very much.